He was a genius who poured the light of God onto the canvas, yet at the same time, a criminal on the run. The angels in his paintings were born from the faces of beggars on the streets. The church both loved him and cursed him. One day he committed murder in Rome and then fled across all of Italy. His name, Caravaggio. Today I'll tell you the story of a man who changed the course of art history and lived a life like a crime novel. Fact 1. Caravaggio, his real name and early life. Caravaggio's full name was Michelangelo Merici de Caravaggio. He was born in 1571 in a small town called Caravaggio, located in the Lombardy region of Italy, a name he later adopted as his artistic nickname. From a young age, he showed a great passion for painting and studied under famous artists in Milan. But Caravaggio was more than just a painter. Throughout his life, he constantly defied rules and was seen by many as both a genius and a rebel. His painting technique challenged the traditions of his time, masterfully using the power of light and shadow. Yet this was only part of his story. Caravaggio's life was a drama filled with blood, passion, and flight, far beyond the canvas. Fact 2. Caravaggio's painting style, chiaroscuro and drama. Caravaggio's most renowned artistic feature is his use of the chiaroscuro technique. This Italian word means light and shadow, and Caravaggio mastered this contrast so skillfully that his paintings seemed alive, three-dimensional and breathing. The light in his works falls in such a way that even the darkest moments are enveloped in brightness, while the figures emerge from the surrounding dark background, hypnotizing the viewer. This contrast not only gave his paintings visual depth, but also added theatrical drama to every scene. Even sacred themes came alive as pieces of real life, deeply stirring human emotions. Caravaggio's revolutionary technique completely transformed the art of his time and reshaped how artists played with light for centuries to come. Fact 3. Caravaggio's criminal past. The genius painter and bloody nights. Caravaggio's life was not just about art. It was also filled with street fights and criminal incidents. From a young age, he often got involved in brawls and did not hesitate to carry a knife. His personality, like his art, was equally passionate and fierce. In 1606, a fight on the streets of Rome completely changed his life. He got into a violent confrontation with a young man named Ranuccio Tomassoni, and the fight ended bloodily. Tomassoni was killed. This murder made Caravaggio one of the most wanted men by the Roman police, and he was forced to live as a fugitive for life. From that moment on, he hid in various cities across Italy, Naples, Malta, Sicily, trying both to protect himself and continue his art. These years of running marked a new phase in his artwork, but Caravaggio's life was always under threat, and his criminal past never left him alone. Fact 4. Caravaggio's imprisonment in Malta, the fugitive painter's new drama. In 1607, Caravaggio arrived on the island of Malta as a criminal fugitive. He was accepted as a member of the Knights of Malta, which offered him both refuge and a fresh start. However, the painter's passionate and volatile nature did not settle quietly here either. Soon he attracted attention on the island, not only for his art but also for his behavior. He became involved in rivalries and conflicts among the knights and was even seriously wounded in a fight. But this was just the beginning. In 1608, Caravaggio had a serious dispute with the Maltese authorities and was imprisoned. While in jail, his life was in grave danger. But thanks to his extraordinary agility and resilience, Caravaggio miraculously escaped. This escape forced him back into a life on the run, leading to a perilous journey toward the Italian cities of Sicily and Naples. The events in Malta remain one of the most dramatic episodes in Caravaggio's life, revealing him not only as a genius artist, but also as an extraordinary fighter. Fact 5. Caravaggio, the realism of saints and sinners. One of the most revolutionary features of Caravaggio's art was his approach to models. Unlike many artists of his time who created idealized, perfect-faced saints, he worked with real-life models. Ordinary people from the streets of Rome, the poor, beggars, and sometimes even criminals appeared alive in his paintings. This caused a major upheaval at the turn of the 16th to the 17th century, because religious art traditionally preferred to depict saints as pure, immaculate, and exalted figures. But Caravaggio combined holy figures with the harsh realities of life. In many of his paintings, he chose sinners or people from the lower classes as models in the church, a practice that often led to scandal and harsh criticism from church authorities. For example, in famous works like The Assumption of the Virgin Mary or The Birth of John the Baptist, he often depicted people taken from real life, sometimes even those considered socially marginal. Caravaggio's approach brought incredible emotional depth and realism to his paintings. His canvases seem alive. The figures breathe before the viewer's eyes, evoking emotions like pain and love. This realism, combined with his dramatic play of light and shadow, made him one of the most revolutionary and influential painters of his era. This choice of models and realism made Caravaggio both one of the most admired and most criticized artists of his time. His art challenged church traditions while simultaneously revealing the deepest and most sensitive sides of human nature. This is what has made him an unforgettable and impactful artist through the centuries. Fact 6. Caravaggio's self-portraits in his paintings. Hidden signatures and secrets. Caravaggio secretly included his own portrait in many of his works, sometimes clearly visible, sometimes very subtle and hidden. For example, some scholars claim that in Judith beheading Holofernes, painted during the years he was accused of murder, the face of the beheaded Holofernes resembles Caravaggio himself. This could symbolize his inner struggles and the violence in his life. In another famous work, The Portrait of Bacchus, Caravaggio depicted himself as a young and attractive figure. This also reflects his attitude towards the pleasures of life, and at the same time, its darker sides. His hiding of himself in his artworks was both a mark of artistic mastery and an expression of personal secrets through art. These hidden self-portraits reveal the complexity of Caravaggio's character and the multiple layers of his life. Fact 7. Caravaggio's impact. The dawn of a new era in art. Caravaggio brought the greatest revolution to the art world, a perfect synthesis of realism and drama. Through his masterful play of light and shadow, he added life and emotion to his figures, marking the beginning of a new era in art history. His chiaroscuro technique inspired artists for centuries. Rembrandt, Rubens, and others followed Caravaggio's path and incorporated his style into their own works. Moreover, Caravaggio's life story, portraying him as both a genius artist and a rebel, made a dramatic cultural impact, immortalizing him in the hearts of art lovers and popular culture alike. From films to literature and even modern visual arts, Caravaggio's influence is still felt. The drama, realism, and the dark sides of human nature he portrayed on canvas continue to resonate powerfully in the art world today. Fact 8. Caravaggio's private love. Caravaggio's life was not only about his canvases. His heart was also filled with difficult and passionate love stories. Despite the strict social rules of his time, he experienced several deep and complex relationships, especially close friendships and romantic connections with men, which were both a source of inspiration and an obstacle in his life. These secret relationships intensified the dark and emotional tones in Caravaggio's art. Some of his portraits reflect this passion and struggle, works where love and suffering are felt simultaneously. However, these love stories brought many conflicts and dangers into his life. Under the harsh dominance of social norms, Caravaggio had to fight for both love and freedom. This struggle turned his life into a drama worthy of a century. Fact 9. Caravaggio's religious beliefs and conflicts. Caravaggio frequently depicted deep religious themes in his paintings, but his own relationship with religion was complex. While portraying sacred figures, he often used sinners and vulnerable people from real life as his models, which sometimes drew criticism from the church. For Caravaggio, religion was not just an idealized ritual. It was a vivid experience intertwined with human weakness and sin. This perspective made him remembered both as a devout and morally controversial figure. Fact 10. Caravaggio's mysterious death. The final journey of a genius painter. In 1610, at only 38 years old, Caravaggio's life ended suddenly and mysteriously. He was hiding in Sicily after fleeing the Roman police and was on his way to freedom. But this journey was never completed. Various sources suggest different causes for his death. Some say poisoning, others malaria, and some point to an infection. However, the most mysterious theory is that he was killed in revenge for a murder. After his death, Caravaggio's influence on the art world did not fade. On the contrary, his life and art became even more famous, and his dark life story turned him into both an artist and a legend. Caravaggio was both a genius and a rebel, a shining light in the world of art and a man of the dark streets. His life and work show us that great creativity often arises from the toughest struggles, even from the deepest darkness. If you enjoy unforgettable stories in the lives of extraordinary people, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. If you like the video, please share it with your friends and leave your thoughts in the comments. We hope to see you again soon with more dramatic and fascinating stories in upcoming videos. Thank you, and see you next time.